going on, everyone? Honda Fit for Adventure here, and today we're going to be removing the A-pillar on a 2015 Honda Fit. One reason you might want to remove your A-pillars is if you plan on removing your headliner. I chose to keep my A-pillars in place. That way when I reattach my headliner, it helped hold it into position as I reattach the bolts. I think most of you are here to hide your dash camera cable behind the airbag as opposed to just removing your weather stripping and jamming it behind the A-pillar plastic. To remove the A-pillar, we're just going to use some basic tools. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver, one with a narrow tip, or if you have some pry tools, that would be the preferred method. The pry tools are made of a softer plastic and there's less of a chance of scratching your dashboard. You're going to need a needle nose plier and a regular plier as well. And if you plan on hiding any accessory wires, you're probably going to need some small zip ties and a scissor to clip the ends off with. The first step we're going to do is remove the weather stripping. It's very simple, just give it a pinch and pull back. I already have a dash camera and a few other devices wired up through here, so I'm going to remove those cables first before we continue. So I have quite a few wires to hide and tuck up. Next up, we're going to remove this panel that sits underneath the A-pillar. My GPS mount here has melted to the window, so I'm going to leave that in place. Also, one of these tabs has broken off, and that is why it is sinking there. I'm going to use that to my advantage and pry up the panel from back here. And once I got it up from the center, come in with the other tool. Just twist and pop that out of place. And we'll slide that out. See here I have a little bit of separation, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Pop that out. Slide that out. Now to remove the A-pillar, we're going to pop out 3 tabs and then slide it up and out. There's a tab at the bottom, a tab in the middle, and the one at the top pops out and slides backwards. When we remove this and slide it backwards, you also have to watch the A-pillar tab that inserts into the dashboard. It doesn't connect to anything, but you might have to maneuver it to slide out. Let's pull backwards and hear some pops. It might take 3 pops, or I might get them all in one try. 2, 3. Now that all 3 tabs have popped out, we're going to want to slide this backwards, and again, watch this tab. It's not a tab, but watch the bottom part of the A-pillar that slides into the dashboard. Should slide out. Might be a little bit easier if you don't have this in the way. Once again, for your viewing pleasure, 3 tabs and then slide it backwards. Let's pop the top one. Two. I think the third one's out. Now slide it back. Watch the headliner here. There we go. One more time for the people in the back. 1, 2, 3, and then slide it out. Start at the top. 1, 2. I think the third one popped out on that one. Now slide it up and out. There we go. There's the position of the 2 pull tabs. And here is the 3rd tab that slides backwards. It also connects together, but we'll get to this in a minute. So to put the A-pillar back into place, first we're going to need to remove this tab. Yours might be loose when you pulled it out, or it might be clipped in and solid. So to do this, you're going to take your plier, squeeze it from the side all the way down and tight, pull it back. If yours is loose, you don't need to do that, just leave it as is. Now you're going to take your needle nose pliers, and there's a tab on the top and a tab on the bottom. You're going to want to squeeze those and pull this out. Let's try it from this side. Once again, yours should already look like this, but if not, it's just going to be pushed into place. Take the plier all the way down, pull it back. Now take your needle nose pliers and squeeze the tab on top and the one on the bottom and pull out. Now we're going to take our plastic clip, push it into place, take the skinny tab face down, and make sure those grooves slide into the track. Kind of helps if you tip the plastic tip in first, and then slide it in. Now we have our 3 pop-in tabs, 1, 2, and 3. Now we're just going to put it back into place and snap it back in. Before we put the A-pillar back into place, I'm going to take my dash camera cable and other accessory wires, run them behind the airbag, underneath the headliner, and then connect them back up. So what I did was ran my dash cam wire underneath the headliner, tucked it behind the wiring harness here and the airbag side curtain. And then I used a little piece of electrical tape to help keep all the wires in place until I put the pillar back on, and then ran all the wires underneath the dashboard to where they're plugged in at. So now let's put the A-pillar back in place. Just gonna slide it back into position. If you have cables, just make sure everything's tucked away. If you don't have to worry about that. There's a tab in the bottom corner, if you can see that in there. Not a tab, but a plastic piece. There you go. It's in place. Push in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Slide it in. Make sure this part goes in to the dash. Sometimes that likes to get caught up at the bottom. Make sure your GPS or dash cam cables are still hidden. And once it's into place, give it a 1, 2, 3. Once over, make sure it's secure. There we go. Back into place. So here's my GPS cable. I'm going to pop the vent open here. There's 2 plastic tabs, and I'm going to run the cable through the vent before I place it back in. I'm going to slide this panel into position and then adjust the slack on my GPS cable. It's going to be a little bit easier for you because you're not going to have this cable in the way to deal with. Slide it into place. Take out some slack for my GPS cable. Make sure the 2 tabs on the front are slid into the A-pillar. One of my tabs is missing apparently. There we go. Perfect. Now we can take my GPS unit, plug that back up, It's getting taut in here. There we go. Last thing we're going to do is put back our weather stripping. You can see mine completely fell off. Hopefully yours didn't come off completely. If so, not a big deal. If you end up with a bubble like so, just feel free to work it in. So it's nice and even. And that's how you remove the A-pillar on a 3rd generation Honda Fit. Thank you for watching. You can see my passenger side is a lot more flush. We're going to take our pry tool and take advantage of the small gap more toward the front. Give it a twist and everything should pop out. 2 tabs and then 2 slots. Push down and those go back in when we put it back. Let's remove our weather stripping. Don't have to remove all of it, just the A-pillar part. See, I have some accessory cables we're going to need to tuck away. Let me pull those back a little bit out of the way. Now there's 1, 2, 3 tabs. Take this, pull it back. 1. There. We didn't hear the 3 pops, but all 3 of them popped. Here's the A-pillar that inserts into the dashboard. You might need to watch that when you pull it back. But take this and slide it back. There we go. Watch that weather stripping a little bit. Sorry that late noise is annoying. Let's take our devices here, my cables, run them behind the airbag and curtain, and then behind the wiring harness. Pull it back up. Same thing for this one. Up and over. I'll tuck those in and connect those later. Alright, then we're going to grab our needle nose and regular pliers. Our plastic tab is loose since it popped out. This is what pops out, and then you slide the A-pillar off of it. Take our needle nose pliers, squeeze those 2 tabs and pull back. Ooh, I almost got it first try. This is what's going to hang me up on time. It's a little tedious to do. I'm sure there's probably a better tool. There we go. Now that the tab's out, push it back together. Grab our A-pillar, slide it in. Clicks. Now we're going to take this. So I had a piece of electrical tape here. Slide it back into place. The right way would help. Make sure our wires are hidden behind our A-pillar. 1, 2, 3. Make sure it's in. Put our weather stripping back into place. And if you got a lump, just run your hand around it and work it in. And then we'll take our vents, make sure those two plastic tabs are inserted, and the rest just pushes down. That's how you remove the A-pillars on a 3rd generation Honda Fit. Thank you for watching. So I did recover that tool that fell into the abyss. I got lucky.